right, so let's hop onto the Jupyter Notebook. And so this is the code from last week, and this is basically the cat thing. So here's something cool about attributes is that a class object attribute will always be the same for any class. So what I mean here is if I write the species of the cat is, say, Bombay, which is scientifically false. And I run this. I didn't really need to run the other one. And here I could just write species, and it's going to tell me my cat is a Bombay cat. But notice I didn't use the self thing here, which is very important to class and object-oriented programming in total. So why didn't I add it here? So it's because this is always going to be true no matter what. Like, I'm just defining a variable here. So yeah. So usually beginners have trouble finding the difference between a method and a function. So basically, a method is a function inside of a class. So if I didn't have this, then this would be a function. But now that I have this is a method. All right, that's easy to remember. All right, so now we're gonna switch things up and we're gonna define an action that my cat does, which is sleep. All right, don't forget the open close parentheses and the column. The column is very important. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna print. We're gonna print all right, so what do you think is going to happen if I type sleep? Well, this is what's going to happen. So this is basically what this is, and this tells where it's located in my computer. So why does it do this? Well, one of the key differences between attributes and methods is the way we call them. Notice that attributes never use open and close parentheses like here. You don't use let's go open close parentheses. This just gives information about the object or class, whatever. On the other hand, methods need to be executed. So if I do sleep and I do this, it's just going to give you that. And well, you need close and open parentheses to execute them. And oh shit, I can't believe I forgot self. Okay, so as I just said before, self is very important to these type of things. And without the self, you'd have to add in some kind of stuff here. So now that I added self, you don't need to add that. And so now we can play around with this. And it says, my name is whatever. And we're going to use the dot format. It's going to basically do this. And a cool thing about Python is that methods can also be taken in outside arguments. So basically what it does is you could just add a number and it says, and I will sleep for hours. And you will add this. And now you can just add numbers here. Number here. Oops. And you need to add a number here. So because I didn't do self for the number, and you're gonna need to add the number in here. All right, so based on these things, I got some new cells, and we're gonna make a formula for a volume of a cylinder. In case you didn't know, the volume of a cylinder is pi times radius squared times height. So just for reference, I'm going to write it here. So V equals pi times radius squared times height. But I'm pretty sure all of you know that. I'm going to comment it so it doesn't think is that. So first we're going to create a class. I'm going to call it cylinder. And we're going to do this. So now we're going to need pi, and that's approximately equal to 3.14, no matter what the size of the base of the cylinder is. So we could just do pi equals 3.14. And now we can define our init method. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass in self. And last time I forgot to pass in self. It was very, very sad. Because, you know, you should never forget to put in self. So, and then because we're going to put radius, we're going to set it default to 1. So Python doesn't get confused. And same thing for height. So now we're gonna do self.radius is equal to radius, and same for height. Self.height. Oh, okay. Make sure to not put any spaces. Height is equal to height. All right. So now we're gonna define the volume. So we're gonna define the volume. Don't forget the self. Return self.volume. Oh wait, no. Self.radius times self.radius times self.pi times self.height. All right, so this is basically our equation. And what we're going to do is my cylinder is equal to cylinder. And here we're going to pass in the arguments for radius and height. So we can put the radius as 6 and the height as 8. We're going to run this. And as you see, nothing happens because we're going to have to run this. So you can tab, and it says cylinder dot. You can tab it again. So you see height, pi, radius, and volume. So just checking, we can put height, and it's going to give you 8. And radius, it's going to give you 6. Okay, that's good. And if you put pi, it's going to be 3.14. Okay, so that's perfect. All right, now let's calculate. We can put volume and, oh, shoot, I forgot that. All right, there we go. So it's 904.32. Now if we change this, it's basically changing it. All right, so this is basically it. So your homework this week is to make a class just like this, but this time you'll be making a formula for a sphere or a cube. That's your choice. All right. Thank you for attending my lecture, and see you next week. Bye.